The Crystal Ballroom of the Ashton Regency was the kind of room that cost more to rent for one evening than most people earned in 5 years. 32-foot coffered ceilings. Hand-laid gold leaf trim. Baccarat chandeliers dripping like frozen champagne. 1,000 white dendrobium orchids shipped overnight from Thailand suspended in invisible monofilament so it looked as though a cloud of petals had paused mid-fall. The air carried notes of tuberose, aged oak, and the particular nervous perfume of people who were terrified someone richer might be watching them. Tonight was my parents' 40th wedding anniversary. Black tie. 600 guests. 3 celebrity chefs collaborating on a 9-course menu paired with wines whose bottles cost more than most cars. A 20-piece orchestra. A custom fireworks display over the lake at midnight spelling out, our plus E19 and 4 Class A office towers, and Evelyn Lynn, Philanthropy Board Chairwoman, 2 hospital wings named after her, held court at table 1 under a spotlight that made Evelyn's emerald and diamond choker throw green fire across the room. The toasts began at 9:40 p.m. First Ethan he stood in. Tom Ford, cufflinks flashing. Voice warm, practiced, camera ready. Dad taught me everything about deal structure. Mom taught me everything about grace under pressure. Together they built an empire. And a family we're all proud to be part of. Applause like polite thunder. Then Chloe's silver lame gown, hair in Hollywood waves. She giggled exactly 3 times, signature move. I literally would not be who I am without you too. You gave me the courage to dream big, post every day, and turn passion into profit. Love you forever. More applause. Someone yelled, "We love you, Chloe." Like this was a concert. Then my father rose. He looked exactly like the oil portrait that hung in the main foyer of Lynn Properties headquarters. Silver temples, navy brioni suit, smile that never quite reached the eyes when he was looking at me. 40 years, he said, raising his flute. 40 years of partnership, of building, of family. Evelyn, you are my rock. Ethan, you've taken the company to heights I never dreamed. Chloe, you've made our name shine in a whole new way. Long pause. The spotlight found me. He didn't say my name, he simply tilted his head in my general direction and added, and Sophia, who is still exploring her options. We love her. We always will. Not every child takes the express elevator. Some prefer the stairs. Laughter rolled across 600 faces, gentle, understanding, cruel in its gentleness. My mother stood next. She was crying already. The pretty kind of crying that doesn't ruin mascara. Richard is right. We have been so blessed. Ethan and his beautiful wife Megan have given us 2 perfect grandchildren. Chloe's brand is in every high-end boutique from Malibu to Miami. And Sophia? She looked straight at me. The tears shimmered. Sophia has always been different. Quiet. Stubborn. She's spent years in her little apartment doing whatever it is she does with computers. We've offered her positions, entry-level of course, at the foundation, at the property management company, even at Chloe's fulfillment center. She's always said no. She wants to do it her way. She made air quotes. The room tittered. We hope one day she finds something she can be proud to tell people about. Something real. She sat to a soft wave of sympathetic murmurs. Poor thing. I heard a woman at table 17 whisper. They've tried so hard. Ethan leaned across 2 chairs and stage whispered. Hey Soph, if the coding thing doesn't work out, Chloe needs someone to manage her TikTok comments. Starting salary's decent. Chloe giggled on cue. Megan, Ethan's wife, patted my hand like I was terminal. You're still young. Plenty of time to pivot. I smiled the smile I practiced in mirrors since I was 14. Small. Closed-lipped. Harmless. Inside, something ancient and patient uncoiled because tonight, at 11:47 p.m. Pacific Time, something was scheduled to happen. Something I had known about for 17 months. Something I had not breathed a word of to anyone in this room. Point 2. Flashback montage. The years that built the Armor Age 8. First grade science fair. I built a working model of a tidal power generator out of PVC pipe, a small pump, and a DC motor I salvaged from a broken toy helicopter. It lit 3 LEDs and spun a tiny fan. The judges gave me first place. My father looked at the ribbon and said, cute. But Ethan won state-level chess at 7. Different caliber. Age 13. Middle school math Olympiad. I took silver in the regional finals, my mother said. That's nice, honey. Chloe just booked her first catalog shoot. She's going to be on billboards. Age 17. Valedictorian speech. Full ride scholarship to Stanford Computer Science. My parents didn't attend. They were in Aspen for Ethan's engagement party. Age 22. First summer internship at a DARPA-funded AI lab. I co-authored a paper on early multimodal fusion for medical imaging. It was cited 17 times before I graduated. My father asked why I didn't get a real internship like Ethan did at Goldman. Age 26. Founded my first company, quietly, in a 620 square foot apartment above a laundromat in San Jose. No funding rounds. No PR. Just code, coffee, and 114-hour weeks. They never asked what the company did. They assumed it was failing because I still drove a 7-year-old Prius and lived in a place without doorman service. 11:47 p.m. The first shockwave. The orchestra had just finished Moon River. Dessert was being cleared. Most phones were still in pockets or on silent. Then the first vibration at a soft, polite chime here. Another there. Within 90 seconds the room sounded like a field of crickets made of glass. My mother glanced at her screen first. Her face froze. Richard, she whispered. Look. My father frowned, pulled out his reading glasses, opened the push notification from Bloomberg. His lips moved silently as he read. Then his hands started to tremble. The headline was simple. Lumina Health AI valued at $8.4 billion in tender offer. Founder Sophia Lin emerges as healthcare's most important architect. Below it, a subhead. Forbes real-time billionaires list. Number 17. Intraday Sophia Lin. Net worth $2.91 billion. Pre-tax post-dilution. A second wave of notifications. Hit. TechCrunch. Reuters. Wall Street Journal app alert. CNBC push. The New York Times Science Desk. All linking to the same press release issued simultaneously by 3 private equity consortia and a sovereign wealth fund. Lumina Health AI today announced the completion of a $2.8 billion secondary tender offer at a pre-money valuation of $8.4 billion. The transaction represents one of the largest liquidity events for a founder-led health AI company in history. Lumina's flagship product, a multimodal foundation model trained on more than 1.2 billion de-identified diagnostic images, pathology slides, genomic sequences, and longitudinal EHR records, achieves 98.4% sensitivity and 97.9% specificity on stage 1 to 2 solid tumors across 8 cancer types in prospective multi-center trials. Adoption currently stands at 1,847 hospitals and imaging centers in 41 countries. Projected lives extended annually. 187,000 to 231,000. Peer-reviewed modeling. Lancet Digital Health forthcoming. Then the photo.me. Not the awkward family dinner version. A professional headshot taken 4 months earlier for the tender documents. Charcoal blazer, soft studio lighting, calm direct gaze. Unmistakably me. My mother made a small wounded sound. My father's glass slipped. Champagne hissed across the linen. Ethan was already scrolling frantically. No, he muttered. No way. Different Sophia Lin. Chloe held up her phone, screen showing my Forbes profile page. Guys, it's her. It's actually her. Silence fell over table 1 like someone had cut the oxygen. Then the ripple spread, table by table. Heads turned, whispers became murmurs, became audible questions. Is that their daughter? The one they said was still figuring things out? Oh my God, look at the net worth. Someone at table 6 actually gasped aloud. My mother stood, too quickly, knocking her chair back. Sophia, she said. Her voice cracked on the second syllable. Sophia, come here. I didn't move. I stayed seated at table 19, hands folded in my lap, watching 600 faces recalibrate in real time. Ethan lurched to his feet. This is bullshit, he said, too loud. She's been coding apps or whatever in her shitty apartment. This can't be real. A venture capitalist 2 tables over turned around. Ethan, It's real. I was in the data room last month. She owns 41% post money. Clean cap table. No drama. She built it from scratch. Ethan's face went the color of old plastered. My father finally found words. How much is 8.4 billion? The VC answered for me. Her stake's worth roughly 3.4 billion on paper today. Could be 5 by year end if the next trial readout hits. My mother started crying, not the pretty kind anymore. Real choking sobs. Sophia, she said again. Why didn't you tell us? I stood then, slowly walked the 35 feet from table 19 to table 1 that every eye in the room followed. When I reached them I spoke quietly, so quietly that people at nearby tables had to lean in. I did tell you. For words. My father blinked. What? 4 years ago. Christmas dinner. You asked what I was working on. I said I was training large vision language models on medical imaging to detect cancers earlier than radiologists. You laughed. You said, "That's science fiction, sweetheart. Stick to something realistic." Then you changed the subject to Ethan's new Gulfstream share. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Last year, I continued. Mom's birthday. You asked why I wasn't dating anyone. I said I didn't have time because we were in phase 2 trials with Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic. You said, always excuses. When are you going to grow up and get a real job like your siblings? Ethan's jaw worked soundlessly. 2 months ago, I said, at Chloe's matcha launch party, Uncle James asked what I did. I said I run a healthcare AI company. You, Dad, cut in and said, she's between opportunities, still finding herself. Then you steered the conversation to Chloe's Sephora deal. I looked slowly around the table. So yes, I told you. Repeatedly. You just never listened. The orchestra had stopped playing. Even the waitstaff were frozen. My mother reached for me. I stepped back. Please don't. She dropped her hand like it had been burned. My father tried next. Sophia, we had no idea. You had every idea you needed, I said. You chose not to believe it because it didn't fit the story you tell yourselves and your friends. Ethan the golden child, Chloe the star, Sophia the disappointment who needs rescuing. Chloe was crying now, 2 big photogenic tears. We're so proud of you, she whispered. We always were. I looked at her. An hour ago you liked a comment on your Instagram that said, Sophia's the family charity case LOL. I saw it before they took it down. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. I turned to Ethan. You offered me a job tonight. Managing TikTok comments. Starting salary decent. He flinched. I continued. Tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, Lumina's board, which I still chair, will announce the next phase. Open source release of our base model waits under a restricted license for academic and nonprofit use. We're also endowing $450 million in irrevocable trusts for low-resource hospitals. Free inference credits in perpetuity. I let that sit. Then at 11 a.m., I said, the IRS and SEC will unseal the first tranche of documents from a 6-year investigation into tax-advantaged real estate syndicates. Operation Obsidian Tower. My father went very still. Among the named entities, I continued, are 3 Lynn Properties holding companies that participated in what the government is calling abusive conservation easement transactions. The overstated deductions total $187 million. Your personal exposure through flow-through entities is approximately $41 million in back taxes, penalties, and interest. Ethan made a strangled sound. Additionally, I said, the government has cooperating witnesses who will testify that senior management, including the principal shareholder, knew the appraisals were inflated. That witness is me. Silence like deep space. I looked at my father. I gave the deposition 18 months ago. Under seal. Today the seal lifts. My mother collapsed into her chair. How could you? She whispered. How could I? I repeated softly. You mean how could I protect pension funds and university endowments from losing hundreds of millions to fraudulent tax shelters? Or how could I refuse to let my own family break the law? and then pretend it never happened. No one answered. I took one step back. I'm going to leave now, I said. Security is waiting outside. There are already 12 news vans at the valet stand. I'll be making a brief statement tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific. No live questions. After that, I'm going dark for at least 6 months. I have work to do. My mother reached again. Sophia, please. We're sorry. We're so sorry. I looked at her, really looked. You're sorry now, I said. Because the world is watching. Because your friends are texting you. Because your name is trending next to mine with the word embarrassing attached. But you weren't sorry last week. Or last year. Or the last 25 years. I turned, walked through 600 stunned faces. No one tried to stop me. The double doors. I paused. Looked back once. My family was still at table 1. Frozen in the spotlight that had once been theirs alone. I pushed through the doors outside. Night air tasted clean. My lead security, ex-Secret Service, opened the door of the matte black Escalade. Home, Ms. Lin. I shook my head. Airport. I have a 1:20 a.m. flight to Zurich. Board meeting at 8 a.m. local. He nodded. As we pulled away, I watched the Regency shrink in the rearview mirror. Fireworks started above the lake. They spelled out R plus E 1985-2025. I didn't smile, I didn't cry, I simply exhaled. For the first time in 32 years I felt the weight lift. Not because they were sorry, but because I no longer needed them to be. Point 4. Aftermath. The long tail. The next 48 hours were chaos. But not my chaos. I spent them in a windowless conference room in Zug, Switzerland, reviewing checkpoint weights for the next foundation model and eating room service oatmeal. Meanwhile, Bloomberg ran a 2,800-word feature titled, The Daughter They Dismissed, How Sophia Lin Built an $8 billion Empire in Silence. The Wall Street Journal published leaked excerpts from my 2023 deposition. My father's lawyers issued a frantic no comment. Chloe's matcha brand lost 317,000 followers overnight. Brands began quietly dropping her. Ethan's fund had 2 limited partners issue redemption notices by Tuesday morning. My mother's hospital wing naming rights were under review, after a patient advocacy group pointed out the irony of a philanthropist. And I live in a 1,900 square foot house in Santa Cruz, Redwood Deck, Ocean View. No staffed. I still drive the same Prius, new battery pack though. My parents and I speak twice a year short. Careful calls on my birthday and theirs. They never ask for money. They never ask to be introduced to my board. They simply say, "We're proud of you," and wait to see if I'll say it back. I never do. Not because I'm cruel, but because those words would be meaningless now. They meant them only after the world forced their hand. Ethan and Chloe still send Christmas cards. I send back a donation. Receipt in their name to Doctors Without Borders. It feels cleaner. Last month, a journalist asked me during a rare fireside chat, "Do you regret cutting contact with your family?" I thought about it for a long moment. "No," I said. "I regret the years I spent hoping they would see me before the world did. But once I stopped waiting for their permission to exist, everything became possible." The audience applauded. I didn't smile. I just nodded once. Because the work was still waiting. Always waiting. And unlike approval, unlike love that arrives only after a 9-figure valuation, the work had never once looked at me and said, "You're not enough."